Hello, everybody. Good evening, bosses who slay. It is I, Chloe from Pistol and Honey, and I have a special guest with me today.
How's it? I'm Andy, new addition to Pistol and Honey.
Andy is fabulous, and he has some awesome skills which he is going to share with you today. So, for once, you're not just going to hear from little me, but you've got someone else with some unique perspective to add to you. I'm sure you guys have already seen the topic of today's talk. It is your brand's digital voice. And it's something that I feel we've been talking about quite a bit lately because I keep getting asked these questions. And I think really the main difficulty which I see coming in when it comes to digital platforms is that we all use social media. And often, because you use social media for your personal use, people assume that they can just hop online with their business and run their business pages in the same manner that you would run a personal page. And this is often where we start running into problems because, unfortunately, it's not that simple. We are talking about advertising. Yes, we're talking about social media, which people understand, but we're talking about advertising on social media, which is different. So we are trying to equip you and give you some tools and some advice and give you a little bit of an insight as to some of the processes that we go through to enable that social media pages and digital marketing is successful. Awesome. Okay, so the one thing that I wanted to go through again is that they always, and I say this all the time, I know, forgive me if you've heard it 100 times, but marketing is both a science and an art. So there is the scientific side, which is the technical side. So there are set ways of doing things, especially when it comes to digital. Digital is changing constantly. I can tell you as someone who works in digital marketing, it's actually quite exhausting having to keep up with each platform, all the changes that are going on and how they affect your business. Facebook is constantly, for example, changing algorithms and making other engagement changes. And if you are not up to date with those, you are not able to leverage your posts to get the best response possible. So there is the scientific side, which takes a lot of research and a lot of time to keep up with. And then on the flip side, there is the art. So it's understanding how to market a product, how to use your creativity to get messages across, and how best to relate to your target market. Okie dokie. So I'm broken down today into 3 main sections, which is going to be audiences, messaging, and platforms. And then Andy's going to chat to you about a couple of other things that he's been working on to share with you today. One thing I just wanted to highlight, it is estimated that 4,000 ads are seen by people every day. So on average, while you're scrolling through social media, driving in your car and looking at billboards, watching television, picking up pamphlets as you go into store, you are seeing about 4,000 ads. Now, on the flip side, 500 ads was the norm 50 years ago. So what we have now are a whole lot of brands fighting for crowds' attention. And the big trick is, how is it that you make sure that your brand's voice is heard amongst the crowd? So the first thing I wanted to chat to you about is audiences. Most people understand the idea of your target market. So when you start a brand, you divide up the entire population of the earth into your exact target market. However, what many people fail to remember is that this target market needs to be further divided into exact audiences for that specific advertisement. For example, if I own a restaurant, I will most likely have quite a broad general target market. It will consist of people in the right income bracket, people who live within a close distance to drive there, and a couple of other differences that you would have set aside according to the type of restaurant you have. Now, if I am then creating an advert for, say, a family evening, or kids eat for free, or whatever it might be, it doesn't help if I'm advertising that to young people who don't yet have families. And this might sound incredibly obvious to you. You're like, well, of course you wouldn't do that. However, most people, when they are boosting ads on platforms, or where they are taking their database and sending out material to them, they do not think to shorten that audience just for that specific ad. So they send it out to everything. For example, another example, a very well-known clothing label, a huge corporate company. My mom has an account with them. And they have all of my mom's personal information because she has an account. So they have her ID number, they have her age, and they know that she's a female, and they know where she lives. However, they constantly send out generic marketing material in the mail that when my mom looks through it, it's all aimed at much younger folk. So the clothing advertised is the latest fashions, the things that are just in store. And very often it's completely irrelevant. I can promise you my 72-year-old mother is not going to buy a bikini. I promise you.
Wow.
You're wasting your time marketing that to my mom. And these people have these databases, but the problem is they are not segmenting their database into audiences. So don't waste your budgets, whether it be print media, whether it be digital. Don't spend money on an ad unless you're going to also spend the time taking to refine that audience to be specific to the group of people that that ad is relevant to. I know it sounds super simple, but I promise you, I see this era in brands from tiny startups to huge corporates. It's a very, very common thing. And all it takes is time, patience, and understanding that you need to speak to the right person. It's really, there's no point on knocking on someone's door if you have a message for them that they're not interested in. You also run the risk of them either unfollowing your page, or if you're on a mailing list with them, removing themselves from the mailing list, or a whole lot of other things, and you can actually lose the audience when in fact you do have things to offer them. So make sure that you're only talking to them when you have something to offer them. Sounds simple, I know, but I promise you, something you need to look out for in your own advertising. With every single ad you put out, whether it be a small little Facebook status on your brand page or whatever, ask yourself, who am I speaking to? And is this message going to the right person? Another thing I wanted to add on there quickly is traditionally, before I started working in digital, I used to work in through the line advertising. So I did magazine articles, I did things for television commercials, radio ads, things like the little collateral that goes if you in-store on the shelves, branding, that type of thing. When it comes to creating one of those ads, it would take us several weeks. So we would start with a briefing with the client would explain to us everything they wanted to do. We would put together some initial mock-ups and suggestions and mood boards. The client would say, yes, go in this direction, that direction. They would come back to us. We would go further. We take it back to them. And this would really sometimes take months depending on the scope of the project. Now, in that time, it's very easy to make sure that all the boxes are ticked, that you're using the right wording, the right imagery, that it's going to the right people, that it's well thought through. We are now living in a digital age where there is a necessity to put out a stack of information on a very regular basis. And this can be quite difficult because people tend to hit that post button a little too quickly without thinking everything through. What I would suggest when it comes to your messaging for your brand, plan at least a month in advance. So plan everything out on a schedule so that you know where that month is going. You know what the main theme is. You know which direction you're moving towards. Because on the day, you are often so busy, but you know you have to put something out. So the messaging that you do put out is like very slapdash and quick, and that does not work for anyone. The second thing I wanted to talk to you about on messaging specifically, I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm not going to stop saying this until I see people stop making this mistake. Sounds kind of mean. Do not say too much in one post. Remember, if you have ever observed people on social media, be it on their computer or on their phone, you will sit there and you'll see them doing this. That's all we do. We swipe, we swipe, we swipe until we see something that catches our eye, and then we stop. Because all of us follow so many things, and this little device has a million different notifications coming through, we don't look at everything on it. Your posts need to be, firstly, eye-catching, but secondly, succinct. Do not talk about multiple things in one post. I get that your company is complex. I get that your brand has many different offerings, but one post means one piece of information. Like that is something you actually need to, if you're doing your own digital, write it above your computer where you sit. One post means one piece of information. Do another post later with another piece of information. People need tiny bite-sized segments to digest. No one can absorb more than that in a social media post. If you do that, you run the risk that people will just scroll straight past because they're not seeing something that relates to them, because they're seeing a whole lot of writing and nothing that's just going to catch their eye. You need to use clever wording. You need to use very short sentences, and you need to make sure that as someone sees it, they know whether this is of value to them or not, and that they are straight away able to ascertain this within under a second of looking at it. That's the reality. Okay. Third part I wanted to talk to you is platforms. Guys, there are so many different digital platforms alone that you can use to get your brand across. Think long and hard and carefully about which ones you choose to invest your time in, because nobody can invest in them, or you will spend your entire life marketing and you probably won't have any time to actually run your business. So 2 platforms that I feel are horrifically overlooked is email marketing and SMS marketing. The average SMS gets read within 20 seconds of it being delivered. This is an absolutely vitally overlooked area of marketing. So with your campaigns, if you have a special offer or something limited time-wise, or something that you know people will see and they can either hop straight online on a link and purchase, or something that, for example, if you're a restaurant and you have a special offer, pop people an email at that time of the day where they're thinking about dinner and what they're going to do. Pop them an SMS so that they straight away see it, and that is more likely to engage in a call in action. The other thing I wanted to say is ensure that, even though we chatted about last time having different voices for different platforms, and I said it's sort of like me as a person, I will speak to Andy differently to how to speak to my dad, and I will speak to my dad differently to how I'll speak to my pastor at church, and I will speak to my pastor at church differently to how I speak to my dog. Okay, it's all still me, one person, or as a company would be one brand, but you take on different voices that are appropriate for the platform. So we chatted about that last time. What I want to say, continuing on that, is make sure that your adverts are still recognizably you. So while you change your tone to be appropriate, don't lose your brand essence. Because the best thing about advertising on multiple platforms, and hear what I'm saying, not what I'm not saying. I'm not saying on all platforms that you will be on. I'm saying on multiple platforms, as in the select few you have chosen, is that the more touch points someone sees you on, the more they will remember your ad. And it also works very well. Say you have a store. One of our clients is a wonderful client called Petland. They have a shop. So say we do a special online. It's awesome if you then carry that same special through to the actual store itself and have posters there so people can see, as seen on Facebook, yes, I saw that special, I've come into the store, here it is. Or even better, do a stand at the front of your store so everyone can see all of the items that you have mentioned that month. If you're a restaurant and you have a special and you're advertising it on social media, it's really awesome if you then do something like a table talker in the middle of the table so everyone can have that message reiterated. The more touch points someone sees a message on, the more likely they are to remember it and to respond to it. Okay. Now, I've been talking a lot, so unusual for me, I know. I'm going to hand over to Andy now, who's going to enlighten you with wonderful digital marvels.
Okay, cool. Well, today we're going to chat a little bit about social media engagement, speaking the language of your audience, the benefits of using video content in social media and utilizing Facebook groups to your benefit for your business, your Facebook page, your brand, whatever it is you're doing. So social media engagement, engaging with your audience, it's like one of the most simplest and most cost-effective ways of pretty much doing relevant market research in your audience, finding out pretty much what your potential clientele may like, what their needs are, what they're interested in, their buying habits, the whole lot. So it kind of makes a lot of sense to engage with them. You know, your social media platform, your Facebook page is not just there to promote and put out messages to them. It's also there, it's a two-way street. So you can ask them a question, you can find out things from them. Personally, I come from a broadcast media background. So we spent a lot of our time on social media platforms doing market research, asking people what kind of content they enjoyed listening to, what music they liked, the periods of time they enjoyed listening to it for. So you could use this in pretty much any kind of brand, any kind of business. If you're a clothing brand, you could utilize it. Go on your Facebook page, ask people what are their favorite colors, what are their favorite textures. If you're a restaurant business, go out there on Facebook, you've got a catering company, whatever, ask people what are their favorite ingredients, their foods, you know, what are their diets, their eating habits like, etc. So, you know, it's kind of a versatile thing with social media engagement. So just keep at the forefront of your mind that social media is not just about putting your message out there. It's also about, you know, as I said, it's a two-way street. You can also listen and you can ascertain a lot of information on your clientele and potential customers through social media. And, you know, research and information in this day and age is valuable. So yeah, people also, in addition to market research, people also like feeling appreciated and valued, you know. So sometimes, you know, when someone drops a message on social media, on your Facebook page, they like your brand, maybe they went to your restaurant, maybe they purchased an item of clothing from your online store, they enjoy it. Engage with them, say thank you, speak with them, you know, because people want to feel valued, and it doesn't take much time. Social media is very cost effective, and it's kind of a community. So if you make your brand a community, make them feel a part of it. The next thing I wanted to move on to.
2 seconds. One thing we was loving this week was doing polls.
Yes.
So polls are awesome because people like it. It gives them options, and it also shows that you understand where your client is at. Andy's been great this week. He's also been doing like just relevant content. So one of our clients is a camera, they do camera repairs. And Andy put up a couple of really cute memes and cartoons of struggles that all photographers face. And that got so many shares and so much engagement because it showed that they're a company who relates to their target markets. Yeah, it resonates with the end user. It appeals to them in a certain way. And that's it. Marketing is a lot more of a diverse game these days. As Chloe was saying earlier about your target audience nowadays, we're no longer using mass markets to advertise to. It's completely irrelevant in this day and age. And it's a big wide world out there. So you're kind of wasting your time if you are not focusing on your niche and understanding that niche better than everyone else out there. Because if you're not doing it, guaranteed your competitor is probably trying to do it already. So now moving on to the next one, speaking the language of your audience. I mean, not just talking English, isiZulu, Afrikaans. We're talking the language. So first of all, who is your audience? What are their interests? How do they speak, you know, with their friends, their family? Like Chloe was saying earlier, like how do they communicate with people in their lives? Which kind of social circles do they interact within? Because these are very important factors in brand identity and positioning yourself and your business in the relevant target market. You know, people tend to resonate with brands a lot better if they're kind of speaking that language. You know, you understand your audience. And similarly to kind of socializing, your brand also takes on a bit of a persona. So also kind of like socializing, don't let your brand become a social outcast. If you're saying things, if you're talking professional language, if you're talking business jargon, for a business that's supposed to be fun and upbeat and catchy, you know, you're going to lose your audience. Yeah, it's kind of like speaking Afrikaans to a person who doesn't understand it. Ek kan nie verstaan. Yeah, so, you know, understand your customers and how to speak to them and, you know, how they want to be spoken to. It is a vital aspect of, you know, understanding your target market
And as Chloe says, target market, who is your niche? How do they want to be spoken to? Now, a couple of other things. These are things we're going to talk about now specifically with Facebook platform and social media. I've tended to see recently a lot just on my personal social media timeline, people saying to me, oh, but I've got a page, but it's not really working. It's not effective. I'm not getting as many likes. My reach is low. Well, we got a couple of tips here on just small things you can do, which won't cost much, which will just boost the reach, maybe get in the right kind of sight of your kind of desired target audience, the whole lot.
Elevate your brand.
Yeah, and just get in the right space. So video content, and we can't stress, video content is extremely popular.
Video content. I've heard video content's good.
It is like, video content is the number one on Facebook's algorithm. They basically have tried to mark content that isn't rich media down. So videos will receive the most traction and engagement on social media. Underneath that, you're looking at photographs, pictures, as little text as possible. Underneath that, it's statuses, and then finally links. So if you're just going on Facebook all the time and posting a link and saying, hey, go to my store,
shame.
Cool, like, you're not actually going to get as much engagement and as much reach as you would really like to. So talking about the benefits of video, like we're saying, rich media ranks high on social media, specifically on Facebook. So, when focus on producing a little bit of high-end video content for your platforms, you'll reach a lot better audience. And just make sure it's a fast-paced environment. As Chloe was saying earlier, you're perpetually scrolling through this thing, and you're going to need to actually think about how you utilize Facebook in your personal sense first. You're scrolling through it. There's 1,000,001 messages out there, marketing messages, memes, viral video content, and everything. So you have to catch the consumer's attention as quick as possible. Yeah. 15-second videos are the most popular online everywhere. So make sure you catch your audience's attention within the first 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Catch them, and you might get them looking on a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So, have a think about it, and think at the end of the day how you utilize social media, and also the kind of stuff you would like to see. Try not too much to force marketing down people's throats. Yeah. Keep it light, keep it upbeat. Don't make it too heavy. At the end of the day, people scrolling through Facebook because they want to be entertained. If you happen to entertain them with some awesome video content and happen at the end of it to deliver a cool marketing message, then you're in the right space.
I read the other day a stat. I know 2 years ago they were saying that video content was going to be 50% of Facebook. And then the other day I read a stat that said 85%. Now, I'm not quoting this as absolute truth, but that's what I was reading in my research. A good thing to note is also when you are boosting posts, videos, you get a lot more bang for your buck. So basically, Facebook appreciate the fact that you are using the richest of rich media. And the elitist, it's the snobs.
Yes.
The snobs who live in the best part of Umhlanga. And because of this, they charge you less for your ads.
Okay, and the last one, we're talking about just Facebook reach for your pages and the whole lot. As I said earlier, I have a lot of friends specifically in the music industry. Oh no, they're advertising their stuff. It's just not hitting the reach. They're only seeing like a couple of hundred people are viewing their advert, their event, and they're getting frustrated by it. Oh no, we have to boost posts, the whole lot, waste money. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. A short tip and a short way around it is to just be utilizing Facebook groups. Yeah. And there's loads of Facebook groups out there. There's groups for communities, there's groups for areas, there's groups for similar interests to those of your business. So do a little bit of time, get engaging in some of these groups. Like if you are, like earlier we were discussing clothing and we were discussing catering businesses, restaurants and whatnot. So if you find some of the groups, find some of the restaurant review groups, get talking in them with people. And then if you, at a later stage, when you figured out, you joined the groups, you figured out kind of who's in there, how to engage with them, put a post to your Facebook page and share them across the different groups from your Facebook page. Just go onto the post.
From your Facebook page.
From your Facebook page. That's the thing, because then you'll be able to at least see the reach and you'll be able to see how many people you're hitting. So yeah, engage with these groups, share the content across, and don't just share to one group. Share to as many as possible.
Gooi, boekie, gooi!
So but make sure that the interests are kind of similar. It's either a business networking group, or it kind of supports the interests or similar activities that your business kind of offers.
Yeah, I would say look for two types of groups. Look for one type of group that is location relevant.
Yeah.
And then one that is industry relevant. Another tip that I would say is, just like we were talking about voices on platforms, each group has their own voices. So give a read to the rules. You don't want to get banned from the group for disobeying the rules.
I've been banned from a couple before, so
have I.
let's go down that road.
Don't hoy too much. Yeah. So first, read the rules. Secondly, understand the language, how they're speaking, and what it is that's the tone. Oh, thirdly, this is a great piece of advice. Stalk people a little. Stalk the people in the group. See the people who started it, the people who's super active. Cozy up to them a little bit, a little bit of like a pat on the shoulder. Hi, let me introduce myself. Your sweet voice. Use that one. And then also interact with other posts. You will find that the second you start commenting on a lot of other people's posts, your engagement will on those groups increase, because people, share the love.
So now also, just while we're on the subject of groups, a lot of you guys are probably a member of Bosses Who Slay already, from which we're doing this live video from. Join it, guys. Basically, what we're doing in this group is we're trying to support and network with local business people. It doesn't matter what kind of business you are. It's not an advertising forum. A couple of people have gotten it wrong. It's not an advertising forum. We're here to kind of discuss relevant marketing in this day and age, how to kind of, social media tricks, advertising tricks, marketing tricks, and we're here to assist and support each other. At the end of the day, independent business people, we need to lift each other up. There's too many big corporates out there, and we're all trying to make it out there. So this is a community for networking, supporting, growing industry. At the end of the day, also, if you've got a service you can offer to us, we can maybe offer you a service, etc. So it's about engaging. This is the platform to do it in, right here, Bosses Who Say. So if you're not already a member, just go there. It should be somewhere there up top. Just click like, follow, whatever.
Join.
Join and get engaging with us. Tell us if you're having a marketing related issue, maybe with your social media, with your traditional media advertising, whatever. Post it up in the group and tell us why you're frustrated. And let's see if we can come up with a solution for it. So Bosses Who Say, we'll play the link down there in the comments after the video's done.
Yeah, just to say, the reason I started the group is because all of my siblings and friends have babies, and I have a business, right? And I kept hearing this quote over and over: it takes a village to raise a child. And everyone was talking about their kids all the time. And I was like, well, you know what? It takes a well-networked community to build a business. And then I was like, speaking of that well-networked community, let us build one. So the point of it is for us to build this together. So we want to talk about your business. We want you to post about your business. Tell us about how you started it, what your struggles are, what you're doing, what you're involved in. That way, other people in the group might be like, I was looking for someone just like that to help me with this. We want to help each other. We want to support each other. We want to watch each other grow. And at the end of the day, we want to be part of all of your success story. So we want to be so well networked that when people say, how did you build your business? How did you get through all those difficulties? You can go, you know what? I had a really well networked community called Bosses Who Slay, and they helped us get through it.
Okay, so while we are on the subject of kind of promoting our own things, we might as well get through it. So, cool. Pistol and Honey, we've officially got some merch, as you can see. Chloe's rocking it.
So pretty.
We got a whole load of it on the stairs over here, and you can see the logo, We're not kind of trying to force the advertising. Pistol and Honey. There's also a Facebook group. We're going to drop that in the comments as well. So follow the Facebook group. Check what we're doing. We're doing digital marketing. Pretty much all spectrums of it. So give us a follow. See what we do. We're kind of cool. We upbeat. We're young, more or less. So that's who we are. And that's kind of what we're doing. A couple of the other things we do. We run another Facebook page called Umhlanga Specials. And what we do...
if you're English like me, Umhlanga.
Umhlanga, like Umhlanga rocks. So we pretty much promote free of charge for restaurants, anything that's going on in special within the Umhlanga region, pretty much within the northern suburbs. telling you if you're looking for like half price sushi, you're looking for 25% off Tuesdays, looking for 2 for the price of 1 beers, you know, you'll find it on that page. We've got all the discounts. If you are a restaurant owner or if you operate within the area and, you know, you have any specials on the go, drop us an inbox, you know. We'll be
free.
more than happy to promote.
And our average post gets, I think I looked the other day, about 1,300 reach. So that means for every post we do where we tag your restaurants in and we support and promote you, you're getting about 1,300 people seeing that, which is who are in the area. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So anyways, that's a wrap from me. And yeah, also don't forget to follow me. You can find me, AndyKer031. You have to follow me.
Shameless.
Follow me.
Shameless.
Follow me.
Promotion. Okay, guys, I think we deserve a glass of wine after that.
Cool.
Great team. High five to you.
High five.
Did it.
Cheers, guys.
Ciao.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.